Keir Starmer has lost a Treasury Minister this afternoon. Pressure had been building, as you say, over links between Tulip Siddiq, who in fact in the Treasury was the anti-corruption Minister, and her aunt, Sheikh Hasina, who until last year was Prime Minister of Bangladesh. She was ousted in something of a coup. Since she left office, there's been an anti-corruption investigation into Sheikh Hasina that's still ongoing. Some of the properties that Tulip Siddiq lived in appear to have had links to Sheikh Hasina's family and to members of Sheikh Hasina's political party in Bangladesh. The new Bangladeshi Prime Minister suggesting some of those properties should be the subject of corruption investigations as part of that wider probe into the former Prime Minister. Where does this leave us? Well, over the last few days, since last week, the independent investigator into ministerial interests, an individual called Lori Magnus, has been looking into Tulip Siddiq's affairs on behalf of the Prime Minister. Glancing at Tulip Siddiq's letter, what appears to have happened is that Lori Magnus has said that Tulip Siddiq did not breach any part of the ministerial code. However, the Treasury Minister has herself decided to resign, fearing that the allegations of links to that former Prime Minister, who is now under investigation, she says will be something of a distraction. Just to pick out some key bits of that letter, as you know, having conducted an in-depth review into the matter at my request, Lori Magnus has confirmed, I have not breached the ministerial code. There's no evidence to suggest I acted improperly in relation to the properties I have owned or lived in, nor to suggest that any of my assets derive from anything other than legitimate means. She said her family connections are a matter of public record, but in that penultimate paragraph she says it's clear that continuing in my role as Economic Secretary to the Treasury is likely to be a distraction for the government. My loyalty will always be to this Labour government and the programme of national renewal. I've therefore decided to resign from my ministerial position. So what that letter does, in effect, Saima, is suggest that Tulip Siddiq has taken the decision to resign. Often it turns out in these situations that letter comes after a little bit of a push from inside Number 10. Certainly when Lou Haig left government, that was the case. Some of Keir Starmer aides easing her out the door as well. Keir Starmer has replied. We've got that letter already. Thank you for that. It's with sadness I accept your resignation from your ministerial role. He thanks her for her role in the Treasury. And here's the key bit of Keir Starmer's reply. He says, in accepting your resignation, I wish to be clear that Sir Lori Magnus, as independent advisor, has assured me he's found no breach of the ministerial code and no evidence of financial improprieties on your part, and says he understands it's distracting and a difficult decision, and thanks her. In other words, here is the Prime Minister and Tulip Siddiq agreeing that no rules were broken by the woman you can see on the screen, Tulip Siddiq, City Minister, in effect, working in the Treasury. However, it is clear that the links to the now ex-Bangladeshi Prime Minister have weighed so heavily on her that she has felt the necessity to quit her job, a job whose portfolio included the role of anti-corruption Minister. It's quite hard, if I'm being honest, Saima, for somebody whose properties potentially are going to be investigated by an overseas commission into anti-corruption to be the anti-corruption minister, even if you've broken no rules. That just is the political reality here. Tulip Siddiq, a North London MP, thought to be quite close to Keir Starmer, they're virtually neighbours in North London. This is a process that's taken just over a week on a story that has dragged on some months, but now drawing to conclusion. We do know who is going to replace Tulip Siddiq. Emma Reynolds, who was first an MP under Gordon Brown and returned in the last election. She will join the Treasury. And a familiar face to those who follow budgets closely, Torsten Bell, will also join the Treasury as well. So a little mini reshuffle to replace Tulip Siddiq. Drawing a line under this affair, I suppose Number 10 just calculated that the drip, drip, drip of stories wasn't going away, including here on Sky News. More blogs from Tulip Siddiq unearthed just in the last few days, and so that's all drawn to a close. Tulip Siddiq is back on the backbenches. Emma Reynolds has come in her place. Keir Starmer drawing a line under this episode.